What is up, everybody? So yesterday morning we went mountain biking for the first time in a while, and I had a number of thoughts about that. It was just kind of different. But before I get to that footage and those thoughts, I just got through reading all the comments on YouTube, got totally caught up. Even if I don't respond, I do read them all, and I at least give it that heart so you have some acknowledgement that I saw it. But yeah, I finished that all off. There's a few from the last video, not the majority. In fact, just a minority that I wanted to address. And that's like the idea of generalizations and all that stuff. All I was saying is that in my experience, in general, roadies are less nice than other people I meet on trails like this. That doesn't mean I make a definitive judgment on someone based on the way they look. So if I meet someone in kit with a nice carbon bike, they have every opportunity for us to be good friends. Like, I don't judge anyone until I get to know them. I was just saying in general, that's my experience. And the same goes with mountain bikers. I've talked about it before. There's a higher percentage of people in that world that are really broy and really douchey. I have some friends that mountain biking is what they do every day, and I absolutely love them. So the point just being that a percentage from my experience. And if you can't see the difference between judging someone by the way they look and just making a generalization about, in general, I find this, that's not on me. I think that's on you. So yeah, it's like what me and Party Size do on the live streams. If you watch those, we pick a bike topic that we have differing opinions on and make our arguments and make our cases. But like, we're two of the most welcoming people, and we don't actually care what anyone chooses to ride, as long as you're not a jerk about it, as long as you don't act uppity or better than anyone else about it. We're just having fun. Like, it's a niche of a niche, and we're just enjoying the, I don't know, nuance and experience of it all. All right, let's jump back to yesterday morning on the way to Hampton Hills to do some mountain biking. So this was Monday morning. I was riding to meet Ben and Aaron at Hampton Hills. I was on my Gunner, which is, you know, my full rigid ATB. I mean, I guess you could consider it a mountain bike. It has 55mm tires, but it could go even wider if I wanted to. But one of the reasons that I do love the ATB, whatever form factor, is that I could ride to the trails and then still be able to enjoy the trails. Not that you can't ride a mountain bike to the trails. I know that modern mountain bikes, you could lock out the forks and all that kind of stuff, but I still just find this to be the better option, the little bit of do everything. When I got there, I thought I was the only one there. I'm like, wow, I'm 10 minutes early. Then I thought to myself, Ben is probably already here riding and Aaron will still be early. Both were true. Aaron showed up 5 minutes till 10. I think 10 was the meeting time, and Ben was out riding around, and he rolled up right before 10 as well. So when we got out on the trails, I felt fairly slow. Not because I felt weak or out of shape. I've been riding a lot, as I've been mentioning, but just that I feel like mountain biking, at least for me, is like something, I don't know, a muscle that needs to be flexed. I'm trying to think of the right analogy. I guess the one that I was saying is it's not like riding a bike to me. So I've never been like a hardcore mountain biker and mountain biked all the time. So it's very noticeable when I'm just out of practice how much slower I am into corners and over features. Not that I go over crazy features, but things like that. And I was talking to Ben and Aaron, and they were saying a similar thing that they find. I just find the more I do it, and it's part of it's being familiar with the trail, but I think it's just more getting used to, you know, when you're going to slide, when you're going to have traction and all that kind of thing. And I guess, you know, I rode mountain bikes a little bit early in the summer or late spring. You know, one day I rode Hampton and East Rim in the same day. We were up in Michigan doing the DTE trails, but then the summer was pretty rainy. The trails were closed a lot, or you just had to consider when you were going to get there, and I just kind of didn't. On one ride, I did hop out onto East Rim when I just happened to be riding by on my gravel bike, and I'm like, hey, let's hit one of the loops here. But yeah, it's just so noticeable to me when I'm out of practice, just how much worse I am at it. Just, you know, a slower pace. Hampton I always do find really comfortable on the Gunner. The top section, though, over the years has gotten a little rougher, where I think, you know, hardtails are probably still the perfect bike for Hampton, but Hampton is still doable on a gravel bike, in my opinion. Well, Not just in my opinion, in my experience, because I do it. I did it this year, and I've done it probably more than I've done it on my Gunner over the years. I've never actually ridden a real mountain bike at Hampton. Well, maybe that's a lie, because I've ridden my old vintage mountain bikes at Hampton, but those are less of mountain bikes than my gravel bike these days.
Oh, damn.
So before we headed down the big descent that is the second part of Hampton, I looked at Ben and Aaron and I said, I am about to hit this so average. I think that's exactly what I did. We used to use the phrase kind of send it, which I've always thought is funny. You know, send it implies that you're going hard, kind of. I don't know, just a modifier that, I don't know, is humorous to me anyways. But yeah, so definitely not my fastest times on anything at Hampton. Still always a lot of fun to ride here. It's one of my favorite mountain bike trails anywhere. It's just, you know, it's not super rocky. It's not super full of features. There are little jumps and stuff like that if you want to get air and drops, but they're also fully avoidable. The first time I ever rode Hampton, just the top section, I was on one of my vintage French road bikes. So if you watch a lot of my videos, you do know that we ride a decent amount of off-road and chunky stuff. The reason I just think it's really different is mountain bike trails are designed for riding and to be flowy and kind of fast. And that's the skill that I find that needs to be practiced. Not that riding off-road isn't a skill that needs to be practiced, but I just do find them to be two different things. Stuff that's made for bikes and stuff that we're just exploring. Let me know if you're like me or if mountain biking to you is just like riding a bike. So as we often do after we ride Hampton, we decide to do the rest of this loop. I never ride to Hampton this way because it's a windy uphill road where cars come fast and they really don't get to see you that well. But going home this way, you get to bomb the hill and I find it's not as bad. But we came into the backside of the Timbertop neighborhood. This is a route we used to ride a lot. There's this concrete road back here, but there's been so much flood damage over the years that it's closed. And there's sections where I'm not sure if they're actually going to repair it or not, because cars do come in the back way to get to Timbertop. But as you could see here, it's all just covered in sand. So it'll be interesting to see. But the reason we come back here is we break off to the left and there's this really cool gravel climb. This is now, unfortunately, not something that we can stay on the bikes the whole time because of all the damage that's been done up here. Oh. So this will probably never be repaired, but it would be one thing that'd be kind of cool to go back and do a little maintenance to make it so you could ride down and up it and just make it more of single track. So after this ride, we went back to the studio and Ben and I worked on the plans for our trip after Nutmeg in Connecticut, which will be in late October. We are going to do a credit card tour that's going to be fairly challenging, so it'll be interesting. I'm going to have more videos coming up about that, and then obviously the actual videos with Nutmeg and the stuff surrounding Nutmeg that we do. Then I went and grabbed some burritos.
Yo, so back to the present, which is now in the past. But yeah, there was a couple other things I forgot that a few people said about they live in New York or San Francisco and it wouldn't be practical to wave to everybody. I get what it's like to be in a bustling city, guys. I get that. Look at this trail I'm on right now. This is what I was talking about. Yeah, you got time to say hi on this trail. So the oldest common I rent, we're going back about a month. So I really just feel in a good mood because so much positivity on this channel. And even a lot of the people who disagree with me on whatever the issue may be are really nice and constructive and know how to have a difference of opinion and not be a dick. Also, what I'm actually doing out here today, I was just doing a, let's see, I'm at 13 miles, like 20-mile loop, gonna grab dinner, and then I'm heading back to the high school I'm photographing for. I've got soccer tonight at their stadium. So this week's busy, university homecoming. I have a bunch of events with them. So it's gonna be riding all over the place, hoping the weather stays like this again. Crazy beautiful, and getting my work done, and then squeezing in some extra miles and fun when I can. So I do just want to reiterate that I really mean it when I say you should enjoy your bike however you want. And even if that means head down, going all out, except on a bike trail, because you need to be courteous of other bike and trail users, walkers, joggers, and all that. But literally enjoy whatever you want on the bike. If you say something that I disagree with, we could have a disagreement. If you tell me that 25 mil tires pumped up to 120 PSI is faster, I'm going to disagree, because that's not true. And if you say, well, I read it in the 70s, you ever think that maybe we've got better science now? Maybe we've moved along? You have a supercomputer in your pocket that has all-day battery life. Or maybe you're holding it in your hand watching this right now. Yeah. Our understanding of bikes and the world in general does move on. So, yeah. Just in light of certain speeches lately, maybe that needs to be known a little more. Oh, and some totally, well, mostly unrelated bike news, unrelated to bikes news. I picked a bunch of hops from my garden today and gave them to my friend Kurt, another cyclist, who is going to be brewing a beer with the fresh hops that I picked out of my garden. So kind of excited for that. I have a bunch of Cascade hops I grow. I grow them for the looks, but this year they came in so strong, I messaged them and said, any chance you would want these? And I picked probably half the hops. That's what I had time for. And it's probably 3/4 of your typical paper grocery bag full. So a couple pounds of fresh hops. I mostly grow them, like I said, because I like the way they look. They also kind of block the view from my neighbors. Just give me more privacy on my little porch space behind the studio. And then the other ones I grew in an arch. So just kind of cool. Makes my space more cozy. But even better that they're going to get used. Speaking of hops, let's drink some of Missing Falls hops. Alright, got about 20 minutes left till I head over to the game. But I've just been, after dinner, cruising the city. Going down streets I've never been down, just seeing how people live. I love it. Bikes are freedom. Bikes are knowledge. This climb up to Hoban is crazy. I know it'll look flat on the GoPro, but I think it's like 8%, just like a whole block right uphill. I was wrong, it's like 10, 11, 12%. All right, we are done for the day. Maybe done for the video. I don't know. We'll see how long this is. Another car does not use a turn signal. Turn signal? I would have gotten out of their way if I knew they were turning. You know, I'm back. That's another point. The lack of turn signals. Like, because I'm on my bike, cars don't think they need to do that. I always hear drivers say, I don't know what a cyclist is gonna do. I don't know what a car is gonna do if you don't use your turn signal.